if something is going to be genuine or not, or it could be a potential false movement.
There's three big things that you got to look for the reasons why a breakout turns into a false break and can end up in disaster.
Volume is the teller of worlds of when you might potentially fall into a false breakout or something may be an actual breakout.
You see the volume coming in, you see it going to that big key level, the green candles pile up, you get that FOMO, you layer in at the top, and then you get the rug pull. The first thing is, okay, well, identify, are you breaking out into overhead resistance? That completely changes the nature of the trade. In this particular case, when you look at that top here that's trying to break this top, it already failed once. When it goes a second time, it's got overhead resistance. Now you'll note, I kind of didn't want to fall for that trap, so I'm covering going into it. The second thing that you've got to pay attention to, which is very, very important, is going to be, what's the volume looking like, right? Now you can see volume at the bottom, always good volume at the open, but if you line up the breakout, it's not extraordinary volume. A lot of times if you have a late day breakout trade, if it's not happening at 9:30 in the morning right at the open, you want it to be the biggest volume spike of the day, even considering the open, or at least adjacent to that. So that's strike number 2. And again, more reason why you're looking to pile out. The third one's important. When you have a key price level where you're trying to find buyers above, it can be the opening range in correspondence with a prior day high or a prior day close, something along those lines, it gives you an area to look for the break. When it pulls back into that area, you'll want there to be buyers. If you don't see them, you gotta get the you-know-what to dodge. The faster, the better. If you've taken nothing out, you probably want to get out faster because you have no profits to work with. If you have taken some out, you can give it a little bit more room because you've taken profit and you can have a break even or slightly positive trade if you give it more room. But the idea that you want people in that breakout range to have buys is important. Because if it's such a key price level that it's busting through, you don't just want buyers on the way up. When it comes back into that price, you want the sell to be gone and the buyers to have control. If there's none of that, you're not trying to reload. You're thinking about where to get out, and you know how nasty it can be. Because what happens in a situation and why it can be so nasty, the failed breakout, is you don't just have the longs that are in it here. You have to deal with people that have been long from before and are looking for continuation today with that now double top. When they don't get it, they're like, I guess my trade's done. I'm not going to get the continuation on day 2. Yet another reason why you get so many false breaks.
Looking for the continuation, and that false break happens, you have to get out of dodge, as Neil just mentioned. But one thing that you can also do is, once you've broken down, you can look for those buyers to step in on a potential false break. More liquidity needs to be absorbed in order for those assets to either recover or continue to climb higher if you have the inability to punch through key resistance zones. Volume going to be a massive teller, and how we can translate that to real time is also by the time of sales.
Absolutely. You want to be looking at that tape. And you know what's interesting? Another place you look for that in that tape, and I'm giving you a bit of a bonus here. If you have a false breakout, like was in the case here in that BMNR trade, whatever the support was, sometimes it can be a line of support that the stock was going into for the break, or in this case, it can be a trend line that ended up breaking. Leave it in there. Still look at it on the way back. Why? Because that theoretical bid support leading into the break, when you come back to it, you might have an opportunity where the sellers are now in control, and you can look for that reversal. The thing about a false break is it can give you some interesting price action if it retraces back to those prices and does so too rapidly. So you got to be paying attention. Well, first of all, you can't worry about paying attention for shorting the pop back up if you're still bag holding the long after you get rinsed. But if you get out, you can then look at that support and find it as a way to look for the other direction in the trade. It's at least useful price information where maybe you can get some back if you took a small hit. Hopefully you can make a good winning trade in there, but you don't want to get trapped with that FOMO. If you see those signs, you have to somewhat turn it into maybe a scalp trade or a smaller trade, or at bare minimum, get the you-know-what out of dodge before it gets ugly.
And how many times have traders been trapped in potential trades, not gotten out, because they weren't looking at some key features, right? Your volume and your tape can be tellers of worlds on when you may be getting caught in a false breakout